Hi, Shirley here, and in this video I would like to talk about radical acceptance and how to deal with either patterns in our own behavior that block us from growth or the manifestation of the life we do want, or patterns in other people's behavior that either mirrors us or we just don't like. And this can run down from just small annoyance to being in an abusive relationship, abusive home, how you feel about your parents, and stuff that really block us from living the life we want. So this is more a spiritual, philosophical, and psychological aspect to manifestation. You can use crystal energy to help you with it, but first I'm going to talk about the paradigm. And radical acceptance is attitude that is used to treat antisocial behavior, so people who have been through complex post-traumatic stress, that's huge trauma, prolonged trauma, and develop patterns of behavior that are antisocial, either avoidant or violent towards themselves or others, learning basically to accept themselves radically, to consciously accept that this is what I'm like right now. Not this is what I'm like, this is what I'm like right now. Or if you're growing out of another person's abuse, this is what they are like right now, and they might not change. Okay? So you always focus on yourself. You radically accept the situation, the person, the job, whatever is it in your life. You radically accept it as is. You strive to radically accept it as is. You turn into yourself. You radically accept where it bothers you, how you currently feel. You don't resist anything. And from that place of radical acceptance, you begin to work towards what you do want. Taking it step by step. So for example, to radically accept a partner who is abusive, or a parent who is abusive or even annoying, you understand that the acceptance of them as they are is not what blocks you from setting boundaries, but what allows you to separate you and them and focus on what's good for you. This is striving to stop being reactive and start being responsive. So radical acceptance is a great practice to clear the vessel through which energy flows and the energies that flows around and within it, which is what we do first in manifestation, to get into alignment, to get into the yes space. And if you've been following me on Instagram, I shared a post that shows how it's done. I shared the mindset of the yes space that connects to radical acceptance. And from a radical acceptance, you can begin to change your behavior. You can begin to add and enhance, just like we talked about in the sexuality series. Now there is a psychological aspect to it. Learn more patterns of response without rejecting yourself the way you are. Enhance your patterns of responses without judging yourself for how you are the way you are, or how another person is the way they are. And set realistic boundaries. If a person is, or a situation or a job is something that blocks you from being who you are, then perhaps you need to quit it. Cut the connection, reduce the connection, switch a job. And sometimes you would have to go unemployed first. If it's possible, go unemployed first, and sometimes even if it's not possible, and clear your energy, and only then you can find another job. It makes a lot more sense when we talk about relationships. Quit the toxic relationship first, and then you can clear the residues that were inside you that perhaps attracted this relationship, and only then you can change your frequency and find something better. This may be the case, and it's a possibility, and it often goes together with head where you're heading first. Ask for reference for what it feels like, what ease feels like. Practice the yes space meditation. Head where you're heading, and as you do, cutting off from what no longer serves will become easier. You might even get fired as you're heading to what you really do want. Maybe sometimes you have this business that you want to open, and you're thinking about it, you're feeling it, you're manifesting it, but that small step, you're afraid to quit your job, you're afraid to this, you're afraid. Suddenly you may have a crisis, and or eclipse season is going to take your current job, your daytime job away, and now you just have to do what you planned. Or you can take another karmic lesson and try to find a job, and you see that nobody hires you. You just have to follow your dreams. So the universe can arrange that for you. And after we have done radical acceptance and we began to work and move from there, that is where we can set boundaries in a clearer and clearer way. We can feel our feelings and move through this discomfort into what really fits us. That is when we can express our boundaries, not from a place of blame or shaming or even anger. Although anger is a good anger shows us that a boundary was crossed. So it's not a bad feeling. But after we've processed these emotions and realized what's good for us, and we have radically accepted the situation within us that attracted it, and within the opponent or the partner or the working relationship or the boss that was a match to this frequency, even if it's an abusive frequency or egoistic frequency, if we are people pleasers, and oftentimes very egoistic people are people pleasers sometimes. So they would be people pleasers, and then they would be abusers because they don't know the Tao. So you're learning it, and it can, even if you think of yourself, oh, why am I such a people pleaser? The flip side of it is that you can be an abuser. So when you tackle the people pleasing part, you're also tackling the abusive part. When you tackle the abusive part, you also tackle the people-pleasing part, because it's the same pattern with two. If you learn a bit of the Tao of Lao Tzu, you see how these two are two flips of the coin. The victimizer and victim, two flips of the coin. Radical acceptance of this situation allows us to move forward and out of it. This is so important when you want to manifest a change. Can talk about myself, my personal story. When I began to study Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, Vedic medicine, chakra medicine, about energy and flow, and about the understanding that this ease in the body is what's causing these behaviors, and the mindsets that are flawed are a part of it. They're also contributing. So I began to look at the nature of nature and the nature of people in a more physical way, in a more pragmatic way, in a more even mechanical way. So there's the man in the machine and the machine in the man. And this allowed me, when I had undergone abuse, to say, I'm not going